Shalom, shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect nation of Israel, and to you speckled bird Israelites that look like the heathen nations that are scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth. To y'all say shalom. And I also give a shalom to all you brothers and sisters that are out there listening and learning to these videos. And shalom to all you brothers that are out there laboring, out there in highways and byways doing the work of the Lord in these latter days. So y'all say shalom. And I also want to mention that this video is only for the Israelites. And the Israelites today are who you call so-called black people, so-called Hispanic, so-called Cuban, so-called Puerto Rican, so-called Dominican, so-called Jamaican, so-called Haitian, Native American, Guatemalans to Panamanians. Those are the Israelites always have been and always will be. And that's who our Lord, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, died for. You know, he only died for those people only. He didn't die for all people. Contrary to popular belief, he didn't die for all people. You know? But I want to get to this video today about this article that I came across on Newsbreak. You know, I always do, I pretty much say on every video, whenever I, look up articles or I come across articles on certain websites and stuff like that, I always, tell y'all where it's from. This is from Newsbreak, and it says, a popular opinion, against the elites has gone global, right? And that popular opinion, is, basically coming against the government, man. Uprisings, rebellions, revolts, protests, and that's all prophecy, right? Let me get this in the second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. Because the Lord tells us in these latter times that these things will happen, that these things will come. Right? It says, I'm gonna get verse 1 of 2nd Ezra chapter 9. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world in which he made. So, hey, this is the angel telling Esdras basically to see, what prophecies are taking place. It's mainly for us, for our time, mainly. We're supposed to see what prophecies are taking place, in real life and see which ones leak up according to the scriptures. Because that's how you measure the times. And when you see these things happening, when you see, news updates, news articles talking about uprisings, protests, earthquakes, different places, stuff like that, then this is the Lord visiting the world. I'm going to read verse 3. It says, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes which are happening, and upwards of the people in the world, and that's what this article is about, then shall thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. You see? And that's what this is, a popular uprising against the elites that's going global. This is how you know that the Lord is visiting this place, man. Because you got I think it's Sri Lanka. You got people out there, they rioting and stuff. They throwing, mazel tovs with fire on them. They fighting back the government. The government got the martial law out there. You got, I think that's happening somewhere else too. I think that's happening in UK. You got ATMs, down. You got people can't get access to their money. You can't use debit cards and credit cards and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. But I know mainly Sri Lanka, it's pretty bad out there, man. I see in this article it says something about farmers gathered with their vehicles next to a Germany-Netherlands border sign during their protests on the highway. So you got all these tractors, man, right here. They blocking the highway between Germany and the Netherlands, It's all prophecy, man. It's all prophecy, man. And we happy, man. I'm happy, because the Lord's about to come back, The Lord's about to judge these wicked people, Let's get this in the book of, what is that? Mark, chapter 3. It says, verse 24, it says, And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And right now, man, in America, Babylon the Great, where I'm at, hey, it's divided at an all-time high. America has never been this divided. You know, they took a poll basically. They had people vote and say whether or not that they don't like Biden and whether or not they trust in this country. You got a lot of people that's saying that they don't like this country no more. They don't trust in Biden. They don't trust in the government. A lot of these heathens, man, they starting to wake up and understand what's going on. They understand that the government doesn't have their best interest at heart. Why our own people, they're the only ones that's pretty much clueless. You Israelites, man, you so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, y'all are the only ones that act like y'all clueless, man. Like, I was just listening to the brother's video in Chicago. You got Jake predominantly still wearing masks, and I see that where I'm at. The only ones that I still see wearing masks and stuff like that is you Jakes, man. So, you Jakes, man, are through, man. Y'all the only ones. It's terrible, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But this division, hey, let's get this in the book of Luke chapter 12 verse 51, because the Lord, said he came to send division. Right? It says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth, right? You think the Lord is coming to give peace on earth? Because that's what you Christians preach. The Lord is all love. He wouldn't do that. That's the devil doing that. No, it's actually the Lord doing that. It says, I tell you, nay, but rather division. So this is all of the will of the Lord, man. This is all the will of the Lord. This kingdom, this earth is not ran by righteousness. It's just not. It's under the rulership of Esau Edom. Esau Edom is the biblical nationality of the so-called white man. I'm going to get this in the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. Break it down real quick. It says, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces as judges thereof, if not wherein who is he, right? So, how do you know who the wicked is? You know who the wicked is based off of, what people covered the faces of the judges, which who are our judges? The Lord, Yahweh Shai, and the Heavenly Father, who the world really calls God, right? If you look up on Google, you type in God, or you type in that J word, right? What color are you gonna see? You're gonna see a so-called white person, right? And that's not their description across the Bible. That's how you know who the wicked is. You so-called white people, y'all are the wicked. The whole race, not just some of them, not just the top elites. Even though those are the main ones orchestrating everything, but all of y'all, the whole race. That's who the earth has been given into. That's why, in 2020, when you first had everything pop off the way it did in March, they closed everything down. People had to wear masks. They was urging people to stay home and stuff like that. People were scared. All these other countries, even though these other countries they have, as a front or as a I don't even know what to call it, but these other countries, they have a so-called different government. Some governments, they portray as being communist and, not being a democracy and all these things. But really, all these other nations that they leaders, they all work for the same people. Same thing with Biden, over America. Biden, even these other leaders over these different countries, they all work for the same people. The elites of Esau Edom. And I'm going to prove that in the book of Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Right? It says, Psalms chapter 2 and verse 1. I'm going to get verse 2. It says, the kings of the earth, he says kings with the S, plural, set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away the cords from us. You see? And you have these different leaders of these different countries outside of America, even though they portray themselves as being of a different type of government, but really they're under the same order of somebody, under these elites of Esau Edom. They're under that same order. That's why everything was in the same, steps, when everything happened in 2020. All these countries worldwide, why do you think worldwide everybody, was wearing a mask? Everybody had to get these jump shots and stuff like that, because it's all controlled by the same people. It's not no different. That's why you got uprisings. You got these uprisings, these protests in every country. It's not a coincidence. We try to find this Sri Lanka. Because I think they ran out of food, I think. And I think they didn't storm into his house. You see? It says Sri Lanka President PM to resign after tumultuous protests. You see? And they didn't went up in this man's house, man. Let's get that in the book of Second Ezra chapter 15. Because that's prophecy. That's prophecy that these things will take place and that they will happen. I'm gonna get verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right. These people now, they're not regarding their kings nor princes, Now, like I said, these heathens and these people all across the world, they're starting to wake up to what's really going on. And what's that guy's name that's at the forefront or the center? He's like the puppet, Klaus Schwab, he's like at the forefront of the NWO or the world, the WEF, the World Economic Forum. He's at the forefront, right? If you pay attention to his videos, they even have their own YouTube channel telling you what they're gonna do. He said on the video, he said, we need to prepare for a more angrier world. Now, how does he know that people in the world are going to be angry and they're going to get mad, they're going to uprise? How does he know that? Because they're going to make it to where people are going to be unable to live, the way they used to be able to live. That's why you got rising gas prices, you got rising food prices, you got food shortages. That's happening all across the world. You got food shortages in the UK, in Germany, Australia. Everything is all connected, like I said. No matter what they tell you, what they show you on TV about these different countries having different types of governments, they all under the same, regime. They all under the same, order of following orders. Listen to the elites. They all under the same people. So, that's why these things is happening worldwide. It's not a coincidence. I'm gonna read some of this. It says Sri Lanka's president and prime minister agreed to resign Saturday after the country's most chaotic day in months of political turmoil, with protesters storming both officials' homes and setting fire to one of the buildings in a rage over the nation's severe economic crisis. Right, and that's gonna soon come to America, man. That's gonna soon come to America. We very close, man. We not 5-10 years away from this, man. If it's happening everywhere else, Babylon, America is the best for last, man. Trust and believe that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It ain't going to not happen. Let me get this. And I'm going to read verse 14 of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. It says, "Woe to the world, is them at the will therein. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and with swords in their hands." And like I said, that's already happening in these other countries. It's only but so long before it happens in America, man. Because people still don't understand what's going on. There's stuff happening in America, but you got some people that are still relaxed. They still under that veil, so to speak. But you're going to be faced to, realize, what's going on. You're going to be faced with that reality pretty soon. Let me get this in the book of Job. So, let me try to find this real quick, this precept. Because right now, it's beautiful what's taking place, man. It's beautiful. It's the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 27. It says, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. Right, and that's talking about Esau, Edom. You so-called white people. The earth is rising up against you. You got your own people rising up against you. If you can't work together, then what's gonna happen? Like it said in the book of Mark, this kingdom is gonna fall. And you just had to what just happened? You just had the Georgia Guidestones. Maybe it was an explosion, or maybe the Lord sent down a lightning strike himself to basically destroy the Georgia Guidestones, man. There's so many signs telling you that this kingdom is done, man. It's over. It's over. You don't have a lot of time left, man. You know, you don't have a lot of time left. Let me go back to that original article that I had. A popular uprising against the elites has gone global. All right, this is the world we live in now. We don't live in a time of peace. We're not living in that time. Let's get that in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. Right? This is verse 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, right, on the earth. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And right now, the Lord is plucking up, these kingdoms and Esau's rulership that has been planted. A time to kill, a time to heal, and a time to break down, and a time to build up. You see, so there's a balance. There's a time to put things down, and there's a time to build things up. You see? It says a time to weep, and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn, and a time to dance. So it's not even biblical for you Christians that say, oh, well, I can't handle negativity in my life. I can't deal with that. We all got to deal with it. It says, verse 5, it says, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. Verse 6, it says, a time to get, and a time to lose, and a time to keep, and a time to cast away. It says, a time to reign, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, and a time to love, and a time to hate, and a time of war, and a time of peace. And right now, we're in a time of war. Let's get this in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 50, I believe it is. Might be 51. Salakia. This is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. It says, Babylon, which is America, have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Right? It says they have made all the earth drunken. Right? Like I said, that's why you have all these nations. They're all doing the same thing as America's doing. They're all following these, Crown Royale restrictions. They're all, up in turmoil. They're all protesting. They all got people, against each other and stuff like that. But America is the face of everything, man. It says they have made all the earth drunken, right, with their philosophies. It says the nations have drunken of her wine, thereof the nations are mad, right? These nations, man, UK, Sri Lanka, Canada, they see what America's doing, man. They see what America's doing. They see how these Edomites over here, the top Edomites, man, they see like how they see how they're destroying their country, and they don't want no part of it. Verse 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her and take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Right. And this place ain't going to be healed. Same thing with these other countries. They ain't going to be healed, man. The Lord's purpose is to destroy this place, man. It ain't going to be built back up. You already had your time. I just read in the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a time and place for everything. A time for good, a time for evil. A time to be built, a time to basically break down that which you have built. A time to plant, a time to pluck up. And right now, America is being plucked up. Same thing with these other countries and these heathen rulerships. They're being plucked up. Let me get this in the book of Jeremiah chapter 28 verse 8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war. That's how you know who the real prophets are. It says, and of evil and of pestilence. Are not all these things happening? There's nothing but war talks, on the news. They're telling you that on the news every day. And nothing but evil happened. Nothing but pestilence, which are plagues. It says, the prophet which prophesied the peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord have truly sent him. You see, so these Christian pastors, these pastors in these churches, the ones that speaking of peace, we're going to know, at the end of the day, who had the truth. Right now, it looks like the Israelites, have the truth, particularly the Israelites of Great Millstone, starting with the Israelite apostles on down. Because these other Christians, man, and these other Israelite camps, man, some of them, a lot of them, they ain't preaching about Jacob's trouble, man. Not all of them, but some of them ain't preaching about Jacob's trouble, But a real prophet, is going to be telling you about the things to come, and all these things are coming to pass as we speak. You can't tell me you live in a world to where everything is all good, everything is peaceful, You got bus driver shortages. I seen an article like that pop up on my phone today. They just banned in my city. They just banned kids from having backpacks to school. You ain't gonna have no privacy pretty soon, man. You gonna have to get that Karagma. You got food shortages. You got diesel shortages. You know, you got gas shortages. You know, hey, there's a lot of things going on, man. So, like I said, if you in that mindset thinking that everything's all good, the Lord is not dealing with you, man. The Lord is not. And when everything finally collapses and you going to be faced with that reality that it's actually happening, it's going to be too late because you didn't prepare. You know? Let me get this in the book of, what is that scripture at? For as a snare shall come upon the whole earth. As a snare. Luke chapter 21 and verse 35. Then I'll probably close out. I didn't want this lesson to be too long. Let me get this in verse 34. Now I'm going to start at verse 32. It says, Verily I say unto you that this generation shall not pass away, the generation that we live in now, till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts, meaning your minds, be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, so that day come upon you unawares. Right. So we have to basically take heed and pay attention, to everything that's going on. So lucky for that. We gotta take heed to everything that's going on around us, man. We gotta be measured, we gotta be measuring the times, be occupying prophecies. You see? It says, For as a snare shall come upon all them that dwell on the face of the earth. So especially over here in America, because over here in America, these are the people that's over here that don't really know what's going on. Mainly these jakes, but all these other countries, a lot of the people, they know what's going on. More so than people over here in America, they really don't know what's going on. They don't understand it at all. Because they have been babyfied, they have been pacified, to ignore things and to act like everything is all good. And you still got Biden telling you that everything is gonna be okay. That the economy is booming. It's not booming. When prices are sky high, how is the economy booming when people can't even afford to get things that they need to be able to survive? That's less money going into the economy, and that's less money going to these people's pockets to pay for what they need. But I'm gonna close out. I don't want this lesson to be very long. I'm gonna give all praises, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, great millstone. It's like peace and salutations to the elected nation of Israel. I'm gonna say shalom, wa ba ba ba.